Democrats came out with a ridiculous 2028 prospect list. These are the people at the top of the Democratic Party. So now that Joe Biden is gone, the question is, who's next? Who's next? Who's going to be the leader of the Democratic Party? Who's got the best chance in 2028? So this list came out from the Washington Post. They say that the 12 Democrats who make the most sense for 2028. Are you ready for this list? Without further ado, let's start. Tim Walz, number one on the list. Of course, he was Vice President Kamala Harris's pick for her vice president had she won the U.S. election. Tim Walz is the 41st governor of Minnesota. He's been serving since 2019. He was previously a member of the U.S. House of Representatives from 2008 to 2019. He has a background in education and in military service. He worked as a high school teacher. Do you think Democrat voters are going to go for Tim Walz as the nominee in 2028 for Democrat for their presidential pick? Do you think it'll be Tim Walz? Possibly. Another one on the list, Josh Stein, number two on the list. He is currently serving as the 76th governor of North Carolina. Does anybody know who this is besides North Carolinians? I don't think so. But nonetheless, maybe he'll make his mark. Maybe he'll grow and people will start to pay more attention to him. He was the attorney general for the state from 2017 to 2025. And then he became the 76th governor recently. So people are saying, be on the lookout. He might be a rising star in the Democratic Party. Number three, Andy Beshear. He was on the short list for being Kamala's VP pick. Kind of came down to him, Josh Shapiro, Tim Walz, and he was really popular. He's actually the Democratic governor of Kentucky, which is a big deal because Kentucky is obviously a red state, and they've elected a Democrat, Andy Beshear. He was the state's attorney general from 2016 to 2019. He comes from a political family. His father, Steve Beshear, also having served as governor of Kentucky. As governor, Beshear is focused on issues such as education, healthcare, and economic development. He gained national attention for his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic in Kentucky. Ralph Warnock is another Democrat on the list. They're gonna the other guys. Andy Beshear. Sorry about your luck. Tim Walz. You're both just kind of average white guys. Yes, you appeal to Democrats and Republicans, but still, are Democrats going to let go of that, or are they going to say, like what they did with Kamala Harris, they shoved her down our throats because they were like, well, she checks the boxes. She's Indian, she's Asian, she's black, she's a woman, she's all these things. She's younger than all these old fogies, so she ticks the box, so she's good to go. Are they going to do the same thing with some of these others? It'll be interesting to find out. Ralph Warnock, he's a United States Senator from Georgia. He took office in 2021. He's the first African-American to represent Georgia in the Senate, which I'm actually surprised about because Georgia is quite a diverse state. Prior to his political career, he served as a senior pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta and the former Church of Martin Luther King Jr. In the Senate, he has advocated for voting rights, healthcare reform, and economic justice. Are they going to go for Ralph Warnock? Wes Moore is also on the list. You probably don't know who this is. Good-looking dude. Looks nice, looks fit. He is the 63rd governor of Maryland, taking office in January of 2023. He is Maryland's first Black governor, the only third African-American elected governor in U.S. history. He has a diverse background, including military service, work in finance, authorship of several books. As governor, he is focused on issues such as education, economic opportunity, and racial equity. So I think out of everybody so far, this guy maybe has the best chance of being a rising star if we actually start hearing from him. But I think Democrats are going to pick a Jew. To be honest, that's what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to be like, we got to rehab our image. Everybody thinks we're anti-Semites. I mean, I personally think there's two options on this list that I think they're most likely to go with. And one of them we're going to get to later is Josh Shapiro, but we'll get to him. But there's another one that I really think they may or may not go with, but he might switch teams before then. So in which case he won't be an option. Ralph Warnock is the other option they've got. Ralph Warnock is the United States Senator from Georgia we did Ralph Warnock already. Sorry. Wes Moore. Do the next guy. And then Ruben Gallego. This is the other one, Ruben Gallego. So this one, United States Senator from Arizona. So he's a young senator. Might go with this guy. You know, he was in the House of Representatives for 10 years. Then he became a senator. He's serving Arizona. So, you know, look, there's a possibility he's a rising star. He's kind of one to watch. Notice how there aren't any women yet on this list. So this is kind of interesting. The Washington Post, they're kind of giving up on that. The next one, John Fetterman. Now, this is the one I think they're actually going to go with. I think Fetterman. Now, this goon, this ogre is like not mentally stable, not emotionally stable. This is all known. This is all medical fact. He's medically unstable. He's mentally unstable. He's emotionally unstable. He's a total ogre. He's a total doofus. He can't dress properly for just normal meetings. And he's always wearing his hoodie and some shorts. But this guy, I think, has a real shot at taking hold of the Democratic nomination because he's so much like a Republican. And that is if he doesn't switch teams first. He has seemed to align with Republicans more than he even does Democrats at this point. He kind of has that MAGA-esque about him. So Democrats might say, you know what? John Fetterman's our guy. He's kind of MAGA. He kind of has MAGA energy. MAGA likes him because he says things that MAGA likes. So maybe we should hang our hat on John Fetterman and stick with him. He's a bit of a loose cannon, kind of wild like Trump. Maybe this is what Americans go for. He represents Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a swing state. We could get that one. He's super pro-Israel, like way too pro-Israel for anybody's own good. So John Fetterman might be one. My bet on this list is actually on John Fetterman if Democrats can stomach him. But that's also if he doesn't switch teams. There's a real possibility that in these next few years, John Fetterman says, screw it, I'm a Republican. I just align with these people more than anybody else, so I might as well be one. I mean, I would not be surprised if John Fetterman did that. Next on the list for the Washington Post is Kamala Harris. Are you guys ready for round two? Are you? Oh, cringe. They're going to say, well, this time we'll have more time. She's the most perfect candidate. Why? Why is she the most perfect candidate? Because she checks all of the boxes. Once again, Asian, being Indian, Black, woman, young, married to a Jew, almost as good, right, as being one yourself. So they're going to look at her and they're like, she's literally got everything we need to appeal to the women, appeal to Blacks, appeal to Asians, appeal to Jews, appeal to young people, appeal to liberals in general. Plus, she's major establishment, totally controlled by Hillary Clinton. We could control her because she's kind of ditzy and not that smart. So she's perfect. She's the perfect candidate. Don't you get it? And she really is when you look at it from those parameters. The only problem is she's not the perfect candidate to the American people. Never voted for her. She just keeps losing. They also have Pete Buttigieg on the list. We're going to try this guy again. This is a non-starter. I think Pete Buttigieg is not going anywhere. His career is over, when he was Secretary of Transportation. But they definitely were eyeing Pete Buttigieg. He was their number 2 pick if it wasn't Kamala Harris, and he's still in the running. They think that maybe he could have a rising star. Again, you know, there is 4 years, so can one rehab their image in 4 years? Maybe. Would people go for him? He's gay. That was the one thing Kamala doesn't have yet. Maybe she'll come out and they'll be like, well, she's gay, it turns out. But her lover, you know, her new wife is Jewish too. So like that way we make sure we check all the boxes, all of them, every single one that we possibly can to DEI our way through this. Pete Buttigieg, though, I don't see it. I really don't. Gretchen Whitmer is on this list as well. So she's finally the second woman that they threw on here. I'm surprised there's only 2. There are other women in the Democratic Party that they could actually be turning towards, but they're still sticking with Kamala Harris and Gretchen Whitmer. And Gretchen here, Cruella de Vil, who had one of the strictest COVID policies in the nation, not letting people even travel in their own cars by themselves to their second homes in the cabins in the woods. She wouldn't allow it. She wouldn't let people shop in Home Depot in certain sections. You were only allowed to go in for essentials, but you weren't allowed to go to the gardening section of Home Depot, as if that made a difference. So this woman is pretty crazy. But she did have that kidnapping plot against her, and so they could really ride that train for a while. So Gretchen Whitmer is one that they've got. Josh Shapiro. I think this is another big, huge contender. besides John Fetterman. I think Fetterman, Shapiro, and Harris, I think, are the three biggest names on this list that potentially could be Democrats' anointed one. They'll have a primary. They'll kind of go through all that rigmarole, but they won't mean it. They're already going to have their pick. They're already going to have their decision made behind closed doors. We just don't know what that decision is until the primaries are over, and then they tell us after they completely mess with it. But Josh Shapiro, he was one that almost got the VP nominee. They were really looking at him because they really want to change the image of the Democrat Party as being pro-terrorists, anti-Israel. They don't like that looking. They've got to make their donors happy. They're super pro-Israel donors happy. And so Josh Shapiro, being Jewish, but also being pro-Israel, which is, not always the case, but he is. And so, he's a strong contender. He's also governor of Pennsylvania. That's a very blue state, like John Fetterman coming from Pennsylvania. So Josh Shapiro comes from that swing state. Is he gay? Is he also gay? Am I getting that wrong? I don't think he's gay. Is he gay? Because that would at least be another box they could check, because we all know that that's what they care about. And if he was gay and married to like a black man or something, that would be, I think, totally gold for the Democrats, right? That's what they'd want to see. But I don't think he is. He's a father and a pediatrician, mother of an educator. His mother was an educator. So I don't know. I don't think so. Last on the list, Democrats' short list of rising stars for 2028. Who do you want to guess it is? There's one name that's missing. California Governor Gavin Newsom. Here he is. Good hair, don't care. Gavin Newsom. Also got a good shot, if they actually run a primary, when you put all these people up on the debate stage against one another, I think Gavin Newsom will hold his own. He's, women like him because he's cute. So they think, oh, Gavin Newsom. And he was the governor of the great state of California, even though we've had a lot of problems under Gavin Newsom. So he's also a potential rising star for the Democratic Party. What's interesting is it's just wide open in 2028. It's completely wide open. But we know how Democrats operate, and they decide who they want to go for based on these boxes that they're trying to check, based on groups, and usually very small minority groups that they're trying to make happy. Like Black women, for example, they've been trying to make happy for a long time. That's why they chose Kamala Harris. That's why, Kamala was chosen multiple times over by the Democratic Party, because they were trying to make the Black women voter, which is still a very, very small voting base, they're trying to make them happy. And now they're going to be, so it just depends on which group, which kind of token group of people they think they're trying to appeal to. And then they always select like the identity politics from that group rather than actually focusing on policy. It'd be good if they actually cared about what have these governors or senators, what have they actually accomplished? What do they stand for? Who do they appeal to? Do they have policy ideas? I mean, like, look, John Fetterman, they're going to look at him. They're going to be like, well, but MAGA likes him, so let's go with him. Even the guy doesn't have, his brain is not, from my opinion, listening to the guy, it's like Biden. I mean, this guy's not all there. But that worked for them. That worked for them with Biden because they could control him. That'll work for them with John Fetterman if the guy's in a coma the whole time because he's going to the hospital or whatever. And that's why they like Kamala Harris. They like people they can control. So I think it's going to be Fetterman. That's my prediction. I think Fetterman's going to be on the rise. If he doesn't switch parties, they're going to like Fetterman. That's who they're going to go for. But I do think there's a strong chance for Josh Shapiro, Gavin Newsom, and of course, Kamala Harris round 2, if she doesn't run for California governor. Thanks for watching this clip from the full Kim Iversen Show. If you want to watch the full show, visit KimIversonShow.com. The show airs every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, it's KimIversonShow.com. See you there.